Carol, tell us what's been involved in bringing the Choirbook to publication.
The idea started in 2003. Robert Ponsonby had this idea that he wanted to create some kind of celebration of the great choral tradition in cathedrals across this country. And he had the thought there would be a festival of performances of anthems, there would be a collection of anthems. And there was, in fact, originally a much wider project to do with community choirs and bringing together cathedral choirs and community choirs. But we discovered, in fact, the Choir Schools Association were already doing that very well. So that part of the project didn't go forward. And then Robert connected the idea to the Queen's Jubilee. So the Choirbook for the Queen was born. And it was very quickly obvious that this was a project that the cathedrals particularly were very keen on, and it really was going to fly. He took the idea to Sir Peter Maxwell Davies, Master of the Queen's Music, and Max very graciously agreed to become the artistic advisor of the project. And then we drew together a very distinguished advisory group with experience in churches and cathedral music particularly. And the selection process of the anthem started from there. That was about 3 or 4 years ago. I trawled through endless publishers and composers, speaking to people and saying, what's available? Have you got anything that's suitable? Could you submit a score? We had about 120 composers that submitted scores, out of which we selected 33 composers within the Choirbook of existing pieces, and then decided on 11 composers who didn't have anything suitable for inclusion. There were very specific criteria. They had to be pieces up to 5 minutes long, SATB, unaccompanied or with organ accompaniment, and written since 2002. It's fantastic to see it in print. It's been such a long process, slow process and a long process, 6 years of my working life. I think it's fantastic. I think partly it's fantastic because the cathedrals, the choirs are incredibly enthusiastic about it. And tonight, the launch is going to be obviously an end of one process. It's the end of the publication part, but it's also the beginning of something else, because it's the beginning of the whole 12 months of performances, when we hope that not only the cathedral choirs that have been chosen, but good parish choirs will also take up the Choirbook and sing those anthems throughout next year and beyond. And the website is going to list all the performances that we know about throughout the whole year.
Choirs in cathedrals around the country have received copies by the sheer generosity of individual sponsors. How has that worked?
When we saw how many choirs were wanting to take part, and it was 60 to 80 in that range, it suddenly dawned on us that most of them would not be able to afford a whole set of books. You know, average choir is about 35 or 40, times the cost of the book. Well, you're talking £600 to £800 or more, and very, very few choirs could afford that. So we suddenly hit on the idea of, why don't we have diamond subscribers? 60 of them, £600 with gift aid, that would do it. And that was where the idea was born, and it's worked wonderfully. We asked all kinds of friends, mainly friends, and they were so enthusiastic, said, but of course we'll do it. And even in these hard times, you know, people were so keen because they could see this was a real gift that would enable choirs up and down the land to deliver everything in this book, not just now, but for generations to come. So it was wonderful.
How have you decided which pieces will premiere and when?
The selection process for the commissions was necessarily slow, and we identified the composers and then asked each of them, would they be prepared to do this? And that was probably going back about 2 years. Once they were embarked upon the writing, then I talked to them and asked them if they had particular choirs with whom they had a connection. And I wanted to have a geographical spread across the country so that we didn't have only one part of the country represented. And in fact, it fell into place quite easily. We have got anthems from Edinburgh down to Truro, across to Cambridge, across to Wells. In fact, it worked pretty well, and we were very lucky that the BBC, with whom we've had quite a long collaboration on this, Stephen Shipley, the producer of Radio 3's Choral Evensong, had agreed that he would include the commissions in Choral Evensong throughout 2012, and he's then spoken to those cathedrals where the commissions have been placed, and they will each have their premiere broadcast throughout 2012. We've got 9 dates agreed and 2 that are being agreed at the moment.
Peter, what was the Trust's reaction when it heard that the Prince of Wales had agreed to be patron?
The reaction was tremendous when the Prince of Wales said he would be the patron. There'd been so much excitement over a very long period, and it was building and building, and we could see the day of the launch coming. And then just a week before, there is the announcement that Prince of Wales is patron. That is a wonderful seal of approval on everything. So there was much rejoicing.
In 10 years' time, what will your abiding memory of the Choirbook be?
I think the process has been fantastic. For me, it's been a great discovery, really. My background is not at all in church music, but I've worked for 35 years in different bits of the music business. But this is really a learning process for me, and working with the people we've been lucky enough to work with, from the choirs, from the BBC, from many different areas, has been such a joy. And we've learned an awful lot. We could do it again, actually, do it a second time, and not produce something better, but it's been a great process. The process has been fantastic.
What are you looking forward to most in the Jubilee year?
Oh, I'm particularly looking forward in the year to hearing those 11 new commissions broadcast in choral evensong on Radio 3. That will be very special, but I really want to be there, if I can, when they're broadcast. But on top of that, because it's easy to look at the top new ones, you know, there's 33 other anthems in this book, and we know that they will all be performed somewhere during 2012. I just hope that I'll be able to get to a good number of those and to support them. And more, because we really are pretty certain, from the interest already expressed, that a lot of very good parish church choirs are going to buy the book and they will want to do them. Now that is really exciting, because we'd always thought that although this would be cathedral-like colleges and very good choirs, the idea of it being able to be adopted and used thoroughly by choirs in parishes is a marvellous thing, because otherwise people would say, it's a bit elitist, isn't it? No, it's not. This is a choir book for everyone.